Let's talk about the Strat-o-timer GMT, as it marks a turning point for not only the brand, but the entire watch industry. I'll walk through the design intentions of the watch, the why behind each decision that was made, and what it all means for the future of the brand. The birth of the Strat-o-timer was actually very unexpected, but was something that we were prepared for. When I met with Miyota, they surprised me by not only showing the all-new 9075 GMT movement, but being selected as one of the first brands in the industry to feature this movement. So the timing of this was actually impeccable, as I was conceptualizing on what a knockout watch would be for the watch enthusiast anyway. When we were presented with this opportunity, we understood that this movement was an absolute game changer, and the mission was to actually create the perfect traveler's watch. The Miyota 9075 was developed to completely change the game and level out the playing field in the GMT space. For the first time, we're able to introduce affordable traveler's GMT watches that feature a jumping local hour hand. This is the first for brands that don't have access to movements within the Swatch group. We all know this. Now everyone knows that the Rolex Master 2 and the Tudor Black Bays are some of the most popular and iconic when it comes to GMTs. But in reality, those are either extremely tough to acquire or afford. In the coming years, we will begin to see more microbrands featuring the 9075, and that's an exciting thing. However, keep in mind that Miyota has been extremely selective on which brands get access to the movement, as it's a company directive to keep the movement exclusive and high in value. They obviously know what they have in the 9075, and not commoditizing it to every brand I think is the right move. Let's dive into the design of the Strat-o-timer. As I mentioned earlier, the mission was to create the perfect traveler's watch, which to me meant I needed to address the practicality of the watch in its real-world environment. There are three main points that I believe makes the Strat-o-timer the perfect watch for someone who's always on the go. The first, let's start with the obvious, and that is the Miyota 9075 movement that features a jumping local hour hand, making it a traveler's GMT. There are many watches out there that feature a Caller GMT movement, for example the recent Seiko 5 GMT, in which case the GMT hand moves independently around the dial. This is great for when you are trying to keep track of other time zones for reasons like knowing when to call a family member so you're not calling on off hours. The Traveler's GMT is extremely convenient and practical for when you travel to another time zone. You simply jump the hour hand to whichever time zone you landed in, while you're able to keep track of what time it is back at home. Let's say you traveled cross country from San Francisco to New York for business and had to make a one-day stop in Dallas. You simply jump the hour hand 2 hours ahead for Dallas. Then when you land in New York, jump it 1 more hour ahead. This is way easier than the traditional method of winding all the hands around multiple times and losing track of where the minutes were. So as you can see, this movement was critical in our mission to create a great travel watch. The second point in what makes this the perfect travel watch is the on-the-fly, no pun intended, micro-adjusting bracelet clasp. We've all been there. Your wrist changes in size all the time, especially when you're traveling. Whether you're in the air and your wrist swells or land in a warmer climate, the Glide Lock bracelet clasp makes it super easy to adjust the circumference of the watch to any condition. Our clasp has 9 points of micro adjustments, which pretty much covers any wrist size. You could even wear it over your sleeve if the situation calls for it. For added comfort and practicality, we've added 1 more row of links in this Jubilee style bracelet, making it a 7-row bracelet. The bracelet also tapers from 20mm to 16mm, which allows it to articulate perfectly around the wrist for ultimate comfort. Plus, it looks beautiful as well. If you need to change straps during your travels, the bracelet also features quick release pins for an easy swap. We've really put a lot of thought into practicality with this design because, let's face it, we all want to be as comfortable as possible when we travel. The last point in making this the perfect travel watch is the water resistance. If you're going on vacation to Hawaii and you know you'll be snorkeling or diving with the dolphins, the 200-meter water resistance allows you to do that. Simply jump the hour hand to Hawaii time and dive right in. The overall design vision for the watch was to mix retro looks together with performance. When it comes to retro watch design, the box crystal is one of my favorite looks, and it's functional as well. Because of the shape, this type of crystal is actually stronger than a flat one, which allows a higher water resistance capability. The sapphire material helps, of course. Aside from the strength, the actual shape of the crystal clears some space underneath, which allows the hands to sit closer up, which ultimately makes the watch noticeably thinner. We were very pleased to have achieved this depth rating with a sandwich sapphire crystal construction and keeping it to 13mm in thickness. Although when you wear the watch, it certainly does not look or feel like 13 millimeters thick. This is due to the design of the case body. When you look at the silhouette of the Strat-o-timer, you'll notice the transition from the top of the crystal to the flat bezel, onto the curved case body, and finally to the angled case back. The different surface changes not only creates a slimmer profile, but also sits more comfortably on the wrist. To recap, when it came to designing the perfect traveler's watch, our priorities were movement, comfortability, especially for someone on the go, practicality, and performance. The Strat-o-timer is the first watch in the history of our brand that will be assembled and regulated in the US, and we plan on transitioning every watch to be delivered this way. This was an important move for us as we continue to push our product to be better and also contribute to bringing watch assembly here to the States. If you'd like to hear more about the design or anything else about the Strat-o-timer GMT, please comment below. I'd love to hear from you, and we'll create more videos like this based on what you guys want to see. So don't forget to subscribe and stay up to date on all the new exciting things happening with the brand. Also, please follow us on Instagram and join our Facebook group where we frequently post exclusive content as well as surveys to make sure we stay connected with you. Thanks, y'all.